Well, good afternoon, guys. My name is Kanin, and I am a graduate student from Oregon State University. And today, I would like to show you guys one aspect of the Oregon Forestry Science Complex in the virtual reality. And before I begin to show you guys, I would like to talk about story how this project began. So this is the new building from the College of Forestry in my campus, and they have invested a new building called the PV Hall. This is considered one of the largest mass timber construction in the South Oregon, with almost $80 million investment. And it's going to be a main center for the forestry center in my campus. As you can see, it's under construction right now, and it's going to be completed in the fall 2019. Yeah, it's under construction. This project, the construction began in 2015, but later in 2016, when I was a freshman, I did have a conversation with my professor, Raphael, asking that, is it possible if we could use the VR to have the virtual experiences inside of the building before it's completed? Can we use the VR to get a feel of being in the building and get a feel of interactions within the building?
Well, actually, it's just speak louder because the microphone is recording, but you need to speak up.
There's no PA.
Okay, speak up, right?
Yes.
And open.
Shout. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, can we continue?
Yeah.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, two questions urged us both to begin the VR project. And we got a chance or opportunity to use this model, 3D model, as the project. So this is why this is what our project began. And in this presentation, I'm going to talk about three main features inside of the PV Hall VR project. And the first one is going to be realism of the PV Hall project. So we got the model as an AutoCAD file, right? And we need to work on the Revit applications to modify the geometries and polygons. And after that, we have to determine which game engine we want to use. And we came up with the Unreal Engine 4. And to do And then to do exportation, right, we need to use Unreal Datasmith API to transport the building into the Unreal Engine. And once we did that, right, and once we did exportation from the Revit to the Unreal Engine, right, the model is in the level of the game. And that's one thing to note. One thing to know is that the only thing that are there is just the base material and the assets themselves. Other than that, there's nothing else. So the first thing that we want to achieve for the first task was to make this building more realistic, or to create the sense of realism into the building. And this is what we get from the implementation of realism. As you can see here, there are materials, there are components like the shadows and the lights and the reflection stuff that we did implement. To achieve this realistic level, we did the following. The first one is that we did implement the materials in each type of the assets. We all know that each material is different, right? The wood is going to be different from the glass is going to be different from the concrete. So we have to determine which properties we need to modify in each material. And the second is that we need to implement the post-processing volume inside of the level. I'm talking about the ambient occlusion, the reflections, shadows, and the motion blurs, and so on, to get this kind of realistic level here. Another thing is that we had to re-render the collision. Okay, the collision was fine from the Revit, but we need to have more complex. So we can achieve that using the Unreal Engine 4 here. As you can see here, the PV Hall model can be explored in two modes. The first mode is the first-person mode, as you are seeing right now. And the second is going to be the VR mode, which is going to be discussed independently in the next slide here. So I would like to have you see how it is when it's being played here. So there are some functionalities which within the building as well, which will be in the next slide as well. And you can see the lights, shadows, and reflections they all correspond to each other. So you can see how natural it is within the Unreal Engine 4 here. I wish I could have the presentation view, but this is what I can get. So, and the next one is going to be the functionalities within the level itself. So we would like to have the practical interactions as much as possible for the user to interact and experience inside of the PV Hall here. So let me give you some examples of the functionalities that we implemented. So the first one is going to be the automatic door here. So let me play it for you. So the way this automatic door works is that each door will have the collision area, which basically detects the collision of the player. So if the player jumps into the jumps into the area, right? The door will function as opening and closing as it is here. The second one is the detecting light here. So if I click on this one, right? Let's see. Where's the mouse? Okay. Oh, okay. Let me give you this example then. This example is the light, so it allows user to use the keyboard input to place the button. If I click F, it's going to turn on. If I click unclick again, it's going to turn off as it is here. I'm sorry?
Excuse me, questions only from the judges, please.
I'm sorry.
Ask me notes in $1.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Sorry, this is the best thing I could
Yeah.
do. I wish I could do. Let's jump to the next one. The next one is interesting. It's an elevator. So the PV Hall has an elevator here. So the way it works is like an elevator. We have two boxes. You see two buttons, right? And going up and going down. And each button we have the event. One is going up and one is going down. The way to activate those buttons is using the trace line. If you see the left line, right? It's like it kind of activates the event. So if you click on one of them, it's going to going down. One of them is going to go up. And this is very complex a bit, but we did achieve that. So this is a big one for us to achieve it. And the next one that I would like to show is the office simulation. It's going to be in VR, so I would like to jump into the next one. Next one is the VR character. So we did want to have the immersive experience for the user. So we did implement the VR character inside of the PV Hall here. I'm going to have my buddy here, which is me from 3 days ago. And what I am going to do is I'm going to show you how it is like when being in the VR here. So the equipment that I was using over there is the Oculus Rift. It's a headset for the VR. So if you can see here, right? I was inside of the PV Hall level here, and I had the motion controllers for the hands, right? I can do grabbing and I can do teleportation. The reason behind teleportation is that we don't want the user to have the motion sickness. So that's why we did use teleportation. Also, we can determine the direction that we want to face. You can see the blue arrow over there, right? That's the direction that the user can face. And I have to mention that all the functionalities within the PV Hall can be applied into the VR as well. So you see automatic door is over there, right? You can experience it in both first person and the VR as well too. And this is the one that I would like to show you like mainly. This is the office simulation here. So you can see, right? This is one office for the professor here. And there's tables and stuff on the table. So what I was doing here is like, I was trying to simulate myself in using like stuff on the table here. So you see, there are 3 books here, right? I could grab it and I could switch hands like this, like that.
30-second warning.
And like each object or asset of the room here, it has like physics simulation, which means like it allows us to grab the object too. So I can grab glass, something like this, and then I can put it back to like other parts of the table. Even chairs. So you can see it's kind of seamless to like experience into the office room over here. So as if we were in the side of the office room, but I would like to tell you that this room hasn't been completed yet. It's under construction, as I showed in the beginning of the slide here.
Read 30-second warning.
Okay, I think I should be done here. And these are just like what we have done in the left and what we have done in the right. What we are going to do in the right. And yes, I think that's all that we have covered. Thank you very much.
What do you see that your project solved today that we don't already have? I missed what we were trying to accomplish with it.
Okay, so this project is focused on like the simulation of the construction. So we focus on the architecture and the construction, so kind of like both sides. And it all started when like the PV hall was like under construction initially, and we would like to have like the simulation for the building itself. Also, like this is the project for the educational use because like I'm still a student and I have been working with my professor. So we would like to have like a showcase for the virtual reality project, and this is what we have done.
Is the idea that you're moving through the simulation and you're making things happen in the model?
I'm sorry?
You're making things happen in the model. You're opening doors, you're turning lights on and off.
Yes.
Is that sort of interactivity available elsewhere, or is this the first time?
Um,
I'm not familiar with it, so. Have other people done that sort of thing already?
I believe it depends on like functionalities that we want to, because I think there could be some groups of people who have that similar things like us, but like in our case here we have like light and like, the doors, right? So that's what we did, but I think the workflow can be similar to other people as well.
What program? I'm curious. You said you were a grad student at Oregon State. What's your focus or what's your major? Where you?
What's my major, right? My major is computer and electrical engineering, and this is like my own interest to be like knowing this field for construction and virtual reality. So,
Thank you.
Is this, is the goal of this to make it something you can use on the web?
on the website,
Yeah.
I have heard about this idea for a while, but I think like to achieve that, we would like to have like this project into like one single application first, and we can come up with like whether we could have this project available on the website. Because like I have to say this is hardware intensive, because like to run this one you need to have like high specs hardware. And my apologies for difficulties on like showing this, but I did my best. All right, thank you so much, guys.
Good job. Good job.